The Dodgers have ruined baseball. God, these oh, Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers, 4 years, $240 million. If you did not see this coming, where have you been, huh? Where have you been? This is the Hold My Ball podcast. Let's talk about this, huh? All right. I'm going to explain the luxury tax to you because I think it's pretty interesting. But first, thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Do all the things that don't cost you any money and help support. I love that. I love the free stuff. Just costs you a couple clicks. Turn this show on and put it volume on 1 or mute it. I don't really care. Just let it play. Every view counts, and I love and appreciate you guys. Now, I'm going to explain the luxury tax real fast because the Dodgers and the way they handle it is like it doesn't exist and they could care less. And I think it's the craziest thing. But it tells you exactly what the Dodgers are doing right now and how they're doing it. And it just gives you a really good insight to like where their head is at. And I think it's incredible. So Tucker's $60 million a year contract, 4 years, 240, 60 AAV, which is annual average value. It's crazy. Do I think he's worth $60 million a year? Not even close. Not even close. I think he's a $30 million a year guy. And really, when you think about what this is, look at what we're talking about. $60 million for this guy a year. That's $5 million a month to play baseball. Heart surgeons make $600K a year. Like, what is the world? All right, let's talk. This is so crazy. Let's talk about the luxury tax. So here, I'll explain it to you real fast. Every year, MLB and the Players Association, they agree on like a yearly spending limit for the payroll. Each team is allowed to spend this much money. This year, they decided $244 million for 2026. So coming into 2026, each team's payroll is not allowed to go over $244 million. And if you do go over $244 million, you get taxed on the overage. So if you spend $254 million this year, then you get taxed on that extra $10 million you spent. And here's the breakdown of it. So the first year that you go over, and these are consecutive years. So the first year you go over, it's 20%. 20% you have to pay for however much you went over. So if you went over $10 million, you pay $2 million. And that money is divided 50-50. It goes to like the players. So 50-50. It's a split between players, like pensions and all that stuff. So it goes to like whatever that is. Probably health insurance. I don't know. Goes to all that stuff. And then the other 50% is divided equally between all the teams in the league that didn't go over the 244. So really, the teams that go over it are also helping out the league and giving them free money for nothing because someone else spent more than you. You get more money, which is crazy. So MLB and the Players Association decided it was $244 million this year. If you go over the first year, it's 20%. Second year is 30%. If you go over the third year, and these are consecutive years, if you go over 2 years and then you don't go over, it resets and you're back to 0, and then you're back at 1 if you go over. So when you don't go over the luxury tax or the $244 million, then you're back to 0 and it starts over. The third year in a row or more, so it stops at this percentage, but if you go 3 years or more in a row, it jumps up to 50%. So if you went $10 million over, you owe $5 million. That's the way that works. Now, there's more. And I'm telling you there's more because guess what? The Dodgers have more. The Dodgers have all of the penalties you could possibly get for the luxury tax. This is their 5th year in a row. This is how much they don't care. This is how much they don't care about the luxury tax. This is their 5th year in a row. So it goes to 50%. Boom. Here's the kicker for the Dodgers. If you go 20 to 40 million dollars over, so 244, if you spend anywhere from 264 to 284, which would be 20 to 40 millions over, it's an extra 12% on top of what you're already paying. So the Dodgers, their 50% now jumps to 62%. $10 million, you're now paying $6.2 million, which is a lot of money. So you're 40 to 60 million over. First tier is 20 to 40. That's an extra 12%. If you go 40 to 60 million over, that's 42.5%. So huge jump. Huge jump. So 10 million for the Dodgers now, you're at 50%. And then you go 42.5 on top of that, you're at $9.25 million on the $10 million you went over. You're paying 10 million for the players, 10 million over, and you're just giving 9.25 million to the league in a luxury tax. Over $60 million is 60% on every dollar over the $244 million. Can you guess how much over the Dodgers are? It's more than 60 million, I'll tell you that. So the Dodgers, for every dollar they spend on payroll this year above $244 million, every dollar they spend beyond that is taxed at 110%. So that 10 million that you just spent is now 11 million that you're giving away. So you're really spending 21 million for that 10, which is crazy. Now, the Dodgers are in their 5th consecutive year over the threshold, which means 50% is their base rate. And since they're over the 60 million, you add another 60% for a grand total of 110%. Plus, hold on, there's more. Their highest draft pick is moved back 10 spots. Unless it's a top 6 pick. If you're in the top 6, then they go to your second pick. So if you have the 4th pick and you also have the 32nd pick, then you have the 4th pick and the 42nd pick now. That's the way that works. So Dodgers are essentially paying 60 mil. They're already over before they even signed Tucker. So if you look at his $60 million he's going to get paid this year, just to make it simple, it's less than that. It's like 52. I don't know, whatever. But let's just keep it at 60 and go 110%. Dodgers are paying Tucker $60 million. 110% of 60 million is 100. Well, it's 66%, or it's 66 million. So in total, Kyle Tucker will cost them $60 million in payroll this year and $66 million in luxury tax. So they are technically paying $126 million this year to have Kyle Tucker on their team. $126 million they're paying, which in turn, $66 million, that's $33 million that goes towards the MLB for pensions and all that stuff for players. The other $66 million, or the other 33, goes to the rest of the teams that didn't go over the luxury tax. The Dodgers are really doing a lot of good things for the league here. Let's keep going because this is just so crazy. Let's look here. Let's look at what the Dodgers are like, what they're at this year financially. I'm pretty positive they're like over, I want to say $168 million over the 244, which is no. Let me get this right. The Dodgers luxury tax this year, the tax that they are paying to the league, comes out to $168 million. $168 million. I think they're at like 370, so it's 130 something over the luxury tax times 110%. It's 130 plus 13. It's like, I mean, they're at $168 million that they're giving away. That's how much the Dodgers just don't care. They don't care. And it tells you if they're willing to go that much over and just piss away $168 million this season, how much do you think it pays to win? That's what the Dodgers do. The Dodgers win. The Dodgers have built a very good team. They've paid a good team. They've done what they needed to do to have the best team that's probably ever been assembled on paper in the big leagues. I mean, I don't think that's a stretch. And if you say it's not, then you're just holding on to the past. This is the greatest team ever put together on paper. I don't really care what anybody says. Now, is this bad for baseball? A lot of people are saying, yeah. A lot of people are like, here comes a strike. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I don't think it's bad for baseball. I think it's actually incredibly good for baseball. I really, really do. I mean, every good superhero movie or every good movie has a really good villain, and then they have a hero. A good villain makes the movie. The Dodgers are the best villain we've seen probably since the Yankees. They're the best. Everybody hates the Dodgers. If you're not a Dodger fan, you hate them. You despise them. Not to the point where like, oh, I don't like those guys. You looking at them going, they're ruining baseball. They're ruining this league. We're going to have a strike because of them. This is BS. They're ruining the competitive balance. They're ruining everything. But let's look at last year's playoffs. Let's look at last year's World Series. This is why what the Dodgers are doing is so good for baseball. Because you don't have to, you're now creating, if I'm a Tigers fan and I hate the Dodgers and the Tigers don't make the playoffs, I still have vested interest in watching the Dodgers lose. I want to see somebody take down this juggernaut. I want to say, ha, 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 $500 million between your payroll and your luxury tax you paid in payroll this year, and you friggin' lost. What a bunch of losers. Everybody that is not a Dodger fan just wants to be able to say that, and they're going to watch. And last year's World Series is the proof is in the pudding on this. Revenue from 2025, number one, Yankees. Number two, Dodgers. I think it might have been the Dodgers, but the list I saw said number two, Dodgers. The Blue Jays, they were number 16 in revenue last year. They were 16th in revenue, which means good fan base, yeah. Middle of the pack, though, as far as tuning in, spending, doing all the things they do. Middle of the pack, 16. They're the first team on the back half of the league. This was the most watched World Series globally since 1992. And it was a 19% jump from the prior year. Game 7 had 51 million viewers, which was the most watched MLB game in 34 years. Game 1 and 2 broke records for Sportsnet. Japan and Toronto tuned in big time, but the USA also tuned in at record levels. This wasn't just LA. This was United States. Probably really divided on this because Toronto's their own country. But it was a great series, number one. I think good baseball being played while everybody's tuning in was so huge for baseball, and I think it put it in a really, really good spot. Obviously, the Japan market, they tuned in. But this is what a team like the Dodgers does. It creates one fan base. And they are the villains of the villains, I think, between New York Yankees and Dodgers, two of the most hated teams. And what really adds to the hatred for them is they're also two of the most hated fan bases on planet Earth. I shouldn't say that. I haven't traveled much. I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, you never heard of soccer or football? Yeah, I know. That's a whole different ballgame. But the Dodgers and the Yankees are hated. The Dodgers, when they lose, if they lose with this roster, which, again, you build a team this good on paper, it plays way more in a basketball game. It plays way more in a football game. Baseball, anything can happen. Trey Savage absolutely dominated everybody in the playoffs. And he had like his first MLB start, his debut, a week before the playoffs. This guy was making league minimum, and he was the best. Baseball is not like the rest of them. I mean, you can go cold as an offense. You can have a couple opportunities throughout the game, maybe 2 or 3, and if you don't cash them in, you lose. This is baseball. So are the Dodgers at a clear advantage? Yeah, they have a very good team full of very good hitters. They are at an advantage. But when it comes to playoffs, anything can happen, and I do not think it's every other 29 teams mail it in. We can't compete. Everybody can compete in the playoffs, I'll say. There are some teams that are at the bottom of the list that probably 10 out of 10, they're going to lose 9.5 of those games. So I just don't think it is a shoe-in to win. I think people see it that way, and I don't think those are like the true baseball fans, because if you think that having a roster like this guarantees you anything, you're crazy and you don't know baseball. And I see things, I see funny things. The Dodgers have built an incredible, incredible team. Incredible. And they've done it in the right ways. And I just mean personnel-wise. From what I hear, the organization is incredible. Edwin Diaz came over here because his brother was in the organization, said, you have to come here. It's the best. You have to come here. He said, all right, cool, I'm in. And he did. He signed. The Mets offered Kyle Tucker, I think it was 4 years, $220 million. So $20 million less than what the Dodgers did. And I can't imagine that they were like, this is our final offer. Don't come back to us if anyone gives you something higher. Dodgers offered $20 million more. $20 million. Cohen could have easily said, screw it. I'll give you $260. How about that? He could have offered more. I guarantee it. And I guarantee that had he known this was the offer from the Dodgers, he probably would have offered more, but I don't know that he even knew. I feel like Tucker said, the Dodgers, 4 years, 240 mil, I'm in. That's somewhere I want to be. The Mets signed Juan Soto for the stupidest contract in all of baseball, $765 million, and the clubhouse sucks this year and they don't make the playoffs. You could buy the guy, but the guy might be the problem. I'm telling you right now, you walk into a big league clubhouse and the guy's not like fully into the team and he's making the most that anybody's ever been paid in a baseball contract in history. And he looks like he doesn't give a shit to the clubhouse and tells them, look, I'm not a big guy that wants to hang around. Chemistry is huge. That's why the Blue Jays did what they did. Chemistry. Those guys had fun. They spent a lot of money too, but for God's sakes, you missed the playoffs with a $765 million man because the vibes of the team looked like they were garbage. I don't know. If people look for things, this is one I thought was funny. I'm not harping on the Yanks here, but this one made me laugh. There's a picture posted, 10 pitchers that are on the Yankees now. They're 10 guys. And it said, the Yankees have 10 pitchers who have all pitched in the big leagues, which means they're coming into this season, at least spring training, with 10 guys with big league experience on their roster, which is great. Good for them. The crazy thing is, and I commented on this and everybody blasted me because it was a New York page. I said, they need guys with championships, not guys with big league pitching experience. What are we talking about? I thought it was hilarious. The Yankees have Belly, Grisham, and I think Max Fried, who have won World Series before. They got 3 guys. And Bellinger was his first year there. Grisham's Grisham. I don't think he looks like he gives a darn about anything. Max Fried is a quiet guy. He won one with Atlanta. Grisham won one with the Nationals. Belly won with the Dodgers. And no one else in the organization has anything. Their head coach, Boone, been in baseball for 40 years. He doesn't have a championship. Not as a player or a coach. Championship matters. It matters because it's experience at the highest level and it's experience getting it done, not just getting there. So I said something about this, went back and forth in the comments with a bunch of people, and then somebody put out the projected Dodgers lineup today. And this to me was hilarious. I'm going to run this off the top of my head in no particular order. I'm going to just what it might look like. I think they said Ohtani, Tucker, Betts, Freeman, Muncy, Teoscar, Will Smith, Kike Hernandez, Andy Pages, or it was Edman, Tommy Edman. We could put Kike in there. We could put Edman, whoever. I looked at that and I said, okay, if I'm going to argue that being a champion matters, let me look at this lineup. And I did. And there was 9 guys and I counted how many World Series each guy won. And between the 9 guys that are in the projected Dodgers starting lineup, there is 22 World Series rings on their fingers. 9 guys, 22 World Series rings. And that's just the 9 guys on offense. That's not counting Kike Hernandez, who I think has 2, maybe 3. I don't know if he was there for COVID. Kike's got at least 2. This is what's his name? Where's our guy? Miguel Rojas. He's got 2. I mean, there's got to be literally 60 to 70 rings between coaching staff and players on the Dodgers. It's insane. Kershaw's got 3. I mean, Glasnow's got 2. The list goes on and on. Championship DNA matters. Being there, getting it done matters. So do I think the Dodgers are bad for baseball? Not even close. And I would say this to any team. I'm wearing a Dodger hat. I already know everybody that doesn't like me and doesn't like the Dodgers and doesn't like the show, whatever's going to go, Vogel, what do you know, bias? I would say it for anybody. I genuinely think it is good for baseball to have a villain. And this villain is as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. It's the big old lady in Matilda, the teacher. Everybody hates her, and they want to see the kids get the best of her. Like, that's what this is. That's a crazy villain to pick, but I just remember how much I hated her when I saw that movie as a kid. And then when bad things happened to her, I was like, yay. Anyways, this is the Hold My Ball podcast, guys. As always, I appreciate you being here. If you've been here this long and you made it to the end, leave a comment that says, Dodgers are saving baseball or Dodgers are ruining baseball. Tell me one of those. Just write good or bad. Just comment good or bad. Good. That means Dodgers are good for baseball. Bad, I think they're bad. Let me know in the comments. I'm very curious. I probably know the answer for most people, but do it anyways. And again, like, subscribe, share, do all the things that don't cost you any money. I love free support. I do not like asking you guys for anything. That's why I never do, other than a click, a share, a subscribe, a comment. I love you guys. This is Hold My Ball podcast. Season is right around the corner. Spring training's almost here. The best time of the year is right on our doorstep. And I can't wait. More content as always. Looking forward to it, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.